Hey you guys, this is Tired Off, and you are reading malware with me. So today's episode is actually going to be the Hitch Hacker's Guide to dacl-based detections. This is a paper that was hosted on DX Underground. Go check them out, buy some merch if you like them. They are the largest malware repository on the internet, so go check them out. They're awesome. So this is actually part 3. I got into this series a little while ago and never actually put everything together. I stopped recording it for a while and decided to come back to it. So this is part 3 of the dacl-based detection, and it states here from trustedsec.com/blog/title of this. It's an article. I'll link it in this one. This blog series was co-authored by security consultant Megan Nilsson and TAC practice lead Andrew Schwartz. So the introduction to this section reads, in this third and final installment, we will continue our exploration of object and attribute attacks and their subsequent detections. This is part 1 focused on stepping through the flowcharts provided in the dacl section of the hacker recipes, and part 2 focused on modifiable attributes using PowerNav. Part 3, this paper, will focus on a collection of additional attributes that fall outside of the scope of parts 1 and 2, but that we've identified as having value in build detection for it. So, although this post will make a use of a variety of different attack tools, it should be noted that the tool is a means for use to execute the attack. So we are more focused on the underlying techniques of modifiable attributes and the detection surrounding them. In this bullet pointed list, we have a subsection here. So we are operating under the assumption that the adversary already has a foothold within the domain and has acquired the appropriate access they need to make modifications to the object we will discuss. There's a post-exploitation is not a focus byline here. Post-exploitation not being a focus, meaning everything that is collected from the, I guess you could say hacker point of view, where they would be extracting information from the point where they got into the machine, they were able to access that information, and they're using their collection point to sort of do this. That part is not being focused on in this paper, and for obvious legal reasons and also methodology reasons. This isn't something that's going to be outright spoken about, because in this particular circumstance, something like that could implicate people without any trial. So, wisdom would state we're not going to be doing something like that for a number of reasons. But intelligence applied to adversary attribution has not been matched, meaning that the adversary themselves, whoever they are, whether it's a group, a person, what have you, is not going to be divulged, as it were. If there's an attribution that could be appended to a group or anything like that, it's not going to be discussed openly. It's more so just annotating the basic facts of the circumstance and moving like that. And apart from that, a subset of Windows event logging has been used. Not all the possible telemetry data points within this data set have been analyzed. So this is like a pan kind of statement thing. It's not something that's going to specifically annotate things. It's going to kind of just go through whatever it is that's there and present it as something that can be used for something. So, logging setup. This is the second part. As noted in part 1 for telemetry purposes, we will be relying on setting an auditing system, access, control list, or an SATL on each of these attributes and the following Windows event ID. Configuring an SATL is an additional step that must be taken even if the above list of Windows events are currently ingested. Meaning that if current Windows events are there, the SATL is an additional step, sort of appending to something, to make sure that whatever is being presented has the annotation of the documentation, or I should say, it should have documentation of what's taking place, and then everything after that is sort of just going through whatever emotions that you're going through. However, the core foundation for this is like a natural process as it exists without any of these things prevented. And then it says paper first part 1A, meaning the first part of the paper that I did a show on how to enable and configure the login setup of the SATL and how to enable and ingest the Windows event ID. So when you're talking about Windows events, you're talking about like the process like as it's actually happening based on live events, based on what's being used, based on what you have going on in the background there, and like everything that comes with it. And then you have the blog format. The blog format is the section here. It says, due to the length of the post and the number of attributes covered, it is important to remember a couple of key formatting guidelines from part 1 of the step 3 post. Each section will contain the following headings: the name of the attribute or a common name of the attribute, background, which will cover an overview of what the LDAP is displaying and is relevant links to the documentation and so on and so forth, and then modifying the attribute, which is the attack. This will cover how the attack is performed, including the relevant setup for modifying the attribute in question, the screenshot commands, and the tools used. So there's like kind of like a step-by-step thing that's annotated here. There's also building the detection, where the event IDs are most accessible and prominent for building detection. I'm like skipping around a bit here just to get to section 4. We have the admin SD holder, which is a storage point, and then you also have the background. So the admin SD holder object acts as a container that is populated with default permissions. It also says this container is then used as a template for protected accounts to prevent tampering or unintended or unauthorized changes. So protected users can be defined by domain policies, but also typically include by default users within groups such as domain admins, administrators, enterprise admins, and schema admins. Attackers who have gained sufficient privileges can use this container to maintain persistence as the access controller to the admin SD holder object, meaning like the storage space that is called for that specific pointer, so that like that information can lead straight there, and then the attack can also lead its way in. So you have the administrators, the enterprise admins, the schema admins, and then you have the reapplication of these attributes that have been modified every 60 minutes. So every hour, that's like a lot of time, plenty of time actually, to send in an attack every hour, and plenty of time to attack also the update system that's in there. It's modifying the object and the attack. So basically, if you have a window of access every 60 minutes for a reapplied attack, you're going to have to navigate or like dodge the whole issue of being attacked with resetting your phone or keeping it on a timer. It's actually kind of hard to navigate around that because the attack refreshes when a person is just about comfortable with their device being in like, a state of use. So that's actually kind of a serious deal. It's a bit difficult to navigate that. And here we actually have like an example of the modified object attack, and it's pertinent like examples in the actual excerpt. It has like a screenshot of the thing. And then building the detection as you go down the list will actually show you the source code that does this. And it's pretty important to pay attention to this because here in the evaluation of the events, you have the IDs that are attributed to each of these things, and that is exactly what you'll be working with. So it's kind of pretty good to take a look at that, building the detection method, and then seeing how it's applied to the paper. But I'm going to leave you with this, and I just want to thank you for tuning in. If you like my show and you like what I do, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hype my videos for sure to make sure that I get boosted into the algorithm, that I get more exposure, and that more people can see what I can do. So I'm so grateful that you're here. This has been Tired Goth. You read malware with me. I will catch you guys later. Love you. Bye.